on Tuesday, President Joe Biden unveiled his latest nominations to serve as U.S. attorneys across the country. The list of 9 includes 3 black women who, if nominated, will become the first to serve as top federal prosecutors in their districts. Well, joining me to talk about Tuesday's announcement and tell us why this is so important to all of us is BNC legal contributor Paul Henderson. He's also a veteran prosecutor. We love having him here. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm so happy to talk to you about this black excellence. Usually we're talking about, some heavy duty things, but this is awesome. I want to get your reaction to this.
I mean, I was elated just seeing those names and seeing the volume. This is a lot of nominations that he's talked about, and it's really significant. This is almost a third of the jurisdictions that exist in the United States. And to see Black people and African American women at the forefront of these offices is crucial in redefining how justice is interpreted. It's very, very important. A lot of these folks have come from National Black Prosecutors Association, an agency that I've been a member of forever. They've been around since 1983. And to have those folks at the forefront of the conversations that define what justice looks like in those jurisdictions, it's huge. It's really big, especially if you look at the context of what those decisions mean in terms of their leadership in the jurisdictions where they'll be serving, presuming, of course, that they get through their nomination process. But this first step is pretty significant.
Yeah, that's half the battle, right? So, Paul, we said 3 of Biden's nominees are women of color. Keeping that in mind, help us understand what the historical significance is of these nominations.
Yeah, I can make it very clear for folks just by talking about cases that we've all been talking about, like Ahmaud Arbery, right? Like he went through 3 separate offices before that case was actually charged. Part of the reason is this subjective and intransigent decision that prosecutors have when they charge cases, if at all, and how cases are charged. And so right now, that's more relevant than not, even in cases that you and I have been talking about, like the R. Kelly case. This is a case like, people have been talking about R. Kelly and what he's been doing for over a decade. But at the federal level, the U.S. Attorney's Office finally took a stand and represented that case and filed that case. So there are pretty important decisions that can be made at that level. And it's really important that we have a voice, that we have a representative at the table that reflects disenfranchised communities, specifically African Americans that are disproportionately affected by our criminal justice system. So it's a big step towards reform. It's a big step towards accountability to have faces that look like disenfranchised communities and people of color making those decisions in those seats. This is a big deal.
Oh, absolutely. So, Paul, the president nominated a total of 9 people. I understand that you've read their bios. So I need you to give us your critique here and let us know if any of these candidates stand out to you.
I mean, honestly, the ones that stand out to me are the ones that have been active in the National Black Prosecutors Association that we've seen over the years. I joined that organization when I first started practicing law. And honestly, as we're connecting the dots about the significance of these nominees, one of the things that I think may be reflected in this volume is the vice president, Kamala Harris, who has also been a prosecutor. Now, obviously, I was her chief and worked for her for a number of years, but she was active in National Black Prosecutors Association as well, and is intimately familiar, not just with the candidates and their background, but on the significance and the importance of having African Americans being at this seat in the table for the federal government. There's so many issues that we've been talking about for weeks and months that these roles will be having their thumb on the decisions of how they are interpreted that are going to matter at a local level for many, many jurisdictions. It's really groundbreaking, it's significant, and I'm hoping that we're able to follow through with some really good appointments in the near future.
Yeah, let's talk about these appointments because, of course, we know that just because someone is nominated, of course, doesn't mean that they are going to get it. So tell us about the process because we know they're not automatically guaranteed to get the position. So the first step is lengthy, isn't it?
It is, even before they get to the nominees. So in many jurisdictions, those nominees come from the Senate office, the federal Senate office for those states. And they nominate the folks and submit them to the administration. So the Biden-Harris administration is evaluating those names. And even in a city like San Francisco here in California, we've never had a Black woman nominated by a sitting president to this seat. And San Francisco is not alone in that sad record. There's so many other records that are waiting to be broken, but Biden's nomination of these folks is a big deal. And the nomination itself is significant. And the process now is they have to pass and, of course, be appointed. But presumably, these are folks that have already been vetted, which is how they got the nominee in the first place, and have gotten the selection from Biden as the nominees. But I'm more excited about not just the nominees, but about the subject matter that they will affect by the decisions that they make moving forward.
Well, I want to stay positive about this, Paul, but I got to bring up the Senate Republicans because they've already expressed their opposition to some of President Biden's picks. So how likely is it that all 9 of these nominees will actually be confirmed?
Well, the president is usually given wide discretion in terms of how he shapes his Department of Justice and how he shapes or she shapes those nominees that get put into those positions. And they're given pretty much wide latitude. And so it's not a surprise to me that given the conflicts between the two parties right now, that the Republican Party has voiced some strong opinions about these nominees in particular. And here's why. Beyond just the nominees themselves, they are taking staunch positions, the Republican Party, against who these nominees represent by subject matter as well. To me, it's not very surprising that we have all of these nominees coming on the face of the bad news that we hear about the George Floyd bill being stalled. As we are having conversations about the demands for reform with our justice system, it's not a surprise to me that the Biden-Harris administration is moving forward with nominees to interpret those reforms by having leadership in those offices. Those offices are going to be at the forefront of gun violence and policies, violent crime, which is up by almost 30% by most records, the police reform, diversity and the lack of diversity in U.S. Attorney's Office. All of these things are at the forefront, and having culturally competent leadership as defined by this administration is going to make a difference. It won't be an easy step to get all of these nominees through, but it's a first step that needed to happen, and one that I believe is going to be significant for this country.
Oh, yeah, this is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Paul. We appreciate, as always, you breaking things down for us. Veteran prosecutor and BNC legal contributor Paul Henderson. Thank you so much, and have a good evening.